Scottish culture is steeped in folklore, with storytellers sharing the country's rich history with each new generation.
Yes, Angus-based Eileen Budd continues this tradition, and we discover how the writer and podcaster explores this heritage with today's audiences.
In the middle of a loch, there is an island, and in the middle of that island, there is a rowan tree. But not just any rowan tree. This rowan tree belongs to the fairies. I grew up in a family who really believe in maintaining that oral storytelling tradition. And so a lot of the stories that I tell now, I learned from my grandfather, my grandmother, my aunts and uncles. I really wanted to be a storyteller. I really wanted to, take a leaf out of their book and follow that tradition. But I actually couldn't find a way to do that. When I was at school, it didn't seem like it was a viable career. A fearsome dragon with great big scaly claws, great big horns on his head, and a great big scaly tail, which wrapped itself around the rowan tree. I travel all over Scotland, and I take with me a little collection of folk objects, historic ones and also replica ones. And I visit schools and libraries and museums, and I tell the folk stories about these objects. For people to handle an object, it also gives them a little bit of a distance between, having to sit and be an audience member and behaving to interacting. It gives another dimension to it. One of my favourite objects to talk about, it's a charm necklace made of rowan berries. And it has an association, a folkloric association with, fairies, the good neighbours, the good folk. And the berries aren't just ordinary berries. They are magical berries. They can make you jump higher, run faster, and if you're sick, they can make you well. And then I discovered museums, and that's just incredible because they have just millions of objects that are holding these stories. But I did discover that working in museums, you get a very specific set of stories that you're allowed to tell. So I always say that there's 3 different kinds of stories. There's the stories of the castle, the stories of the government. There's the stories of the kirk, the church, the religious stories. And then there's the stories of the village, the folk stories. And the ones of the government and the church, well, that's very much top-down information. And the stories of the village tell you everything else. And it's the stories of the village that I like to tell. Not in your time or in my time, but in somebody else's time. There was a wee boy walking down the road with his granny, and he saw in a ditch a dead deer. Stories are stories. They are a cumulative community memory bank that cross multiple generations. So for me to tell you a story, and then you hear it and you listen to it, and maybe you tell it to somebody else, you're adding to that, which I think is really wonderful. There's 2 times. There's now, and there's story time. And you can go between the 2 anytime you like. It's about using your imagination, which if you don't use, well, you lose.